Samvyartayana. Conventional knowledge. Contains A. Samvyartayana. Conventional knowledge. Properly called B. A small part of Parachitanyana, namely, the impure part of Parachitanyana. 4. Parachitanyana. Knowledge of another's mind. Contains A. Parachitanyana. Knowledge of another's mind. Properly called B. A small part, namely, that found in the mind of another, of Dharmajnana, of Anvayajnana, of Samvyartayana, of Margayana, of Kasayanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. And of Anutpadanayana. 5. Dukkajnana. Knowledge of suffering. Contains A. Suhanayana, properly called B. A small part, that which has as object the truth of suffering, of Dharmajnana, of Anvayajnana, of Kasayanayana, and of Anutpadanayana. 6-7. Samudayanayana. Knowledge of the origin of suffering. And Nirodhanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of suffering. Are explained on the same principle. 8. Margayana. Knowledge of the path of the cessation of suffering. Contains A. Margayana. Knowledge of the path of the cessation of suffering. Properly called B. A small part, that which has the truth of the path as object, of Dharmajnana, of Anvayajnana, of Parachitanyana, of Kasayanayana, and of Anutpadanayana. 9. Kasayanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. Contains A. Kasayanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. Properly called B. A small part, that having as object the suppression of the impurities, of Dharmajnana, of Anvayajnana, of Parachitanyana, of Dukkajnana, and of Margayana. 10. Anutpadanayana. Knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Is explained according to the same principle. 4. The associates of the 10 knowledges. A. The faculties. 9 knowledges are associated with 8 faculties, excluding the faculty of wisdom, the faculty of dissatisfaction, and the faculty of displeasure. E. Samvyartayana. Conventional knowledge. Is associated with 10 faculties, excluding the faculty of wisdom. B. The concentrations. Dharmajnana, Anvayajnana. Subsequent knowledge. And Dukkajnana. Knowledge of suffering. Are associated with the samadhi of emptiness. E. Dharmajnana, Anvayajnana, Nirodhanayana, Kasayanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. And Anutpadanayana. Knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Are associated with the samadhi of signlessness. E. Dharmanayana, Anvayajnana, Parachitanyana, Dukkhanayana, Samudayanayana, Margayana, Kasayanayana. And Anutpadanayana. Knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Are associated with the samadhi of wishlessness. C. The concepts. Dharmajnana, Anvayajnana, Samvyartayana, Dukkajnana, Kasayanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. And Anutpadanayana. Knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Are associated with 3 concepts from the group of the 10 concepts mentioned on p. 1f. The concept of impermanence, the concept of suffering, and the concept of non-self. E. Samvyartayana. Conventional knowledge. Is associated with the 4 intermediate concepts of the same group. Namely, the concept of the repugnant nature of food, the concept of displeasure in respect to the whole world, the concept of death, and the concept of impurity. E. Dharmajnana, Anutpadanayana, Nirodhanayana, Kasayanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. And Anutpadanayana. Knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Are associated with the 3 final concepts of the same group, namely, the concept of abandonment, the concept of detachment, and the concept of cessation. Some say that Samvyartayana, conventional knowledge, is sometimes associated with the concept of detachment. 5. Mutual consciousness of the 10 knowledges. Dharmajnana has as object 9 knowledges, excluding Invayajnana. The same for Invayajnana, excluding Dharmajnana. Samvyartanyana, Parachitanyana, Kasyanyana. Knowledge of the cessation of the impurities. And Anutpadanyana. Knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Have as object the 10 knowledges. Dukkhaجnana and Samudayanyana. Knowledge of the origin of suffering. Have as object Samvyartanyana. Conventional knowledge. And the impure Parachitanyana. Nirodhanyana does not bear upon any knowledge. Margajnana has as object 9 knowledges, excluding Asamvyartanyana. 6. Aspects of the 10 knowledges. Dharmajnana and Invayajnana, subsequent knowledge, have the 16 aspects of the 4 Noble Truths. Parachitanyana has 4 aspects, those of the truth of the path. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha and Margajnana, knowledge of the path of the cessation of suffering, have each of the 4 aspects of their respective truths. Kasyanyana and Anutpadanyana, knowledge of the non-ray rising of the impurities. Both have 14 aspects, excluding the empty aspect and the non-self aspect. Samvyartanyana, when it occurs in heat, summits and patience, has 16 aspects. When it occurs in supreme worldly dharmas, Samvyartanyana, conventional knowledge, has 4 aspects, those of the truth of the path. 7. Acquisition of the 10 knowledges in the Darsana and Asaksa Marga. A. In the Darsama Marga. 1. Entering into the first pure mind, i.e. Dukkhadarmajananaksanti, the saint, acquires one single knowledge, the Samvyartanyana. 2 to 3. In the second mind, i.e. Dukkhadarmajnana, he adds Dukkhaجnana, knowledge of suffering, and Dharmajnana. 4. In the fourth mind, i.e. Dukkhañvayajnana, he adds Invayajnana. 5. In the sixth mind, i.e. Samudaya-dharmajnana, he adds Samudayanyana. 6. In the 10th mind, i.e. Nirodha-dharmajnana, he adds Nirodhanyana. 7 to 8. In the 14th mind, i.e. Marg-dharmajnana, he adds Margajnana. But if he is already free of desire, i.e. if before entering into the supramundane path of the Darsama Marga, he has already been freed from desire by means of the worldly path of detachment, then the saint also adds Parachitanyana. B. In the Asaksa Marga. 9. In the path of the one of no further training, the Arhat adds Kesava Marga. 10. If he has attained unshakable deliverance, he adds also Anutpadanyana. 8. Development of the 10 knowledges in the threefold path. A. In the Darsama Marga. 1. In the first pure mind, i.e. Dukkhadarmajananaksanti, the yogin does not develop knowledge. 2. In the second mind, i.e. Dukkhadarmajnana, he develops 2 knowledges, present and future. 3. In the fourth moment, i.e. Dukkhañvayajnana, he develops 2 present knowledges and 3 future knowledges. 4. In the sixth moment, i.e. Samudaya-dharmajnana, he develops 2 present and future knowledges. 5. In the eighth mind, i.e. Samudaya-Nvayajnana, he develops 2 present knowledges and 3 future knowledges. 6. In the 10th mind, i.e. Nirodha-Nvayajnana, he develops 2 knowledges, present and future. 7. In the 12th mind, i.e. Nirodha-Nvayajnana, he develops 2 present knowledges and 3 future knowledges. 8. In the 14th mind, i.e. Marg-dharmajnana, he develops 2 knowledges, present and future. 9. In the 16th mind, i.e. Marg-Nvayajnana, he develops 2 present knowledges, Margajnana, knowledge of the path of the cessation of suffering. and Invayajnana, and develop 6 future knowledges: Dharmajnana, Invayajnana, Dukkajnana, Samudayanyana, Nirodhanayana. Knowledge of the cessation of suffering, and Margayana. If he is detached, he develops 7 knowledges by adding Parachitanyana, knowledge of another's mind, to the preceding 6. B. In the Bhavana Marga. 10. The Shrotapana who wishes to become detached from the fetters of